Welcome to Let's Get Writing Author Reads, and I am your host, Catherine Taylor. This is an offshoot from my show, Let's Get Writing, and where I interview wonderful guests. And with me here today is Helen C. Escott. Hi, Helen.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
A pleasure. I'm just going to fill people in a little bit on what we're doing. So my guests come on to Let's Get Writing to talk about their books. And I thought, well, what about reading from their books? And that is how this show evolved. And we come to you from Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland, Canada. And my guest, Helen, is in St. John's, Newfoundland. And she is the author of a new book, Operation Trafficked, a crime thriller. And Helen, we have just done a show talking about how you write your books, and I'll encourage people to check that out on my YouTube channel at Catherine Taylor TV and here also on the Facebook page. Helen, you have written 6 books, and a lot of them have been crime books, and you've written some humor, and you've written something on the history of the RCMP. Just give people a little overview of your career.
I actually started out in journalism for about a dozen years, and then I joined the RCMP as a civilian member. I was their communications strategist for almost 20 years, and I am also now a veteran and involved in their Veteran Association and still heavily involved in the force and in policing.
Yeah, and it comes out through your books, because I did mention that this new book, Operation Trafficked, when I read it, even though it's a work of fiction, I feel like I'm gaining an education about policing in Newfoundland, because it's set in Newfoundland. And of course, I think the themes can go anywhere, in any province, any city, any country. But I feel like there's just so much to it. Anyway, I thought we got to share some of the content and let people see a little bit between the pages. And also, if anyone out there has a question, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments, and we'll try to answer. But Helen, what are you going to share with us today? Give us a little oversight on the book first, this particular book.
Okay, so the idea for the novel came from the belief that it is possible to get away with murder if you kill people whose lives are already devalued by society, like sex workers and drug addicts, people that nobody kind of really, they don't really care about, they don't look for, it doesn't make the media when they're killed. And if it does, it's just for, on page 4, and then it's forgotten about. And sex workers are definitely in that category. And I have always believed, it's not the oldest profession, it's the oldest form of oppression. And people have to change their mindset on that women don't choose this as a career choice. This is something they're forced into because of poverty or mental illness, or they come from, a childhood of trauma and abuse, and they're now dealing with substance abuse, and they're forced into it by captors, is what they are. So that's where the idea of the story came from.
Yeah, minders or handlers, and so often poverty and addictions.
Yes.
Which quite often lead to poverty, and certainly a change in our motivations. And, it's crazy how things can happen. A child is born, brought up, and sometimes in a lovely home, and just things go wrong. It can't even be mental illness. And
Yes.
just without those coping mechanisms, they become vulnerable to situations. And before they know it, they're caught up in this kind of slave trade, human trafficking, and there's really not a back door. Very difficult to get out of it.
Yes, it is. And, people often say we should legalize prostitution, that will fix it. Or, we should make more adult massage parlors and, give them safe places to work. And that is so wrong that, let's not give them more places to work. Let's give them more places to heal. Instead of putting money into legalizing this industry that demoralizes women, let's put more money into facilities where people with mental illness can go to get help, where people with addictions can go to heal, where people who are in poverty can go to get skills, to get jobs, to improve themselves. legalizing prostitution does not empower women in any way at all. It actually demoralizes them. All legalizing prostitution does is make honest businessmen out of pimps.
And you're really not going to do that. I don't, that is definitely not what they want.
No.
They're not going to want to pay their taxes on that money and so on. That's not how that business runs. We all know that.
Nope.
No. So, Helen, what are you going to share with us today? What aspect of the book or what chapter?
So I'm just going to read the first a couple of pages from the first chapter. My chapters tend to be long, so I'm not going to read a whole chapter, but I will read you the first chapter just to give you an idea. It starts out with a murder that takes place in a hotel in downtown St. John's. This is the first time my character, Sergeant Nicholas Myra from Operation Wormwood and the Reckoning, is working with Constable Gail McNaughton from Operation Vanished, and they work together because Sergeant Myra is with the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, and Constable McNaughton is with the RCMP. So it's a joint forces operation where the RNC police the Avalon and Corner Brook and Labrador, and then the RCMP polices the rest of the province. And there are jurisdictions issues there. So they work together for the first time here.
Well, take it away, Helen. I'm just going to go down in the corner here and enjoy.
All right, I hope you enjoy it. This is Operation Trafficked. The September night sky was navy, brimming with big, wet, gray clouds that whirled under a surreal velvet starry cover. A freezing rain sprinkled the streets, leaving everything shiny and slippery beneath the yellow glow of the streetlights. Taxis splashed through puddles of water and let fares off next to their destination in downtown St. John's. A turbulent, vengeful wind pushed around a scatterling of dead leaves, a warning that a powerful storm was brewing over the city. Groups of jovial bar-goers dotted the sidewalks in front of the vibrantly colored row houses that had been turned into restaurants and pubs. Drinking songs poured out of the doorways into the street. The aroma of deep-fried fresh fish, homemade fries, and beer pulled chilly customers inside. A tall glass and concrete hotel stood watch over the downtown district. The stifling hot air inside the hotel room on New Gower Street was filled with a distinctive, sickly sweet, decaying odor that is immediately recognizable and extremely hard to forget. It was the smell of death. Sergeant Nicholas Myra got off the elevator to the fourth floor and spotted two uniformed officers chatting outside a doorway at the end of the hallway. He nodded at a third officer who stood next to the elevator, taking down information from a sobbing woman. The senior officer on duty lost no time heading toward Sergeant Myra. Sir, the officer met Myra halfway and walked with him. We got the call at 3 a.m. from the front desk. The hotel clerk said they had an outside call alerting them to a hotel guest who needed medical attention. The clerk said she called the room and didn't get any response, so she came up and let herself in. She found the body. I'm guessing the clerk is the one I just passed. Myra looked over his shoulder. Yes, that's her. Get her to a private room and take a statement. Sergeant Myra weaved his way through a gaggle of guests who were standing in the hallway trying to find out what the commotion was about. Get everyone back in their rooms and keep the hallway clear until we can get the body out. Sir, the officer stammered as he approached the room. You're not going to believe what you're going to find in there. Myra took a pair of blue rubber gloves out of the pocket of his tweed sports coat and stretched them over his sausage-like fingers and up around his thick wrists. I've seen dead bodies before, Constable. There's not much that's going to surprise me at this point. They stopped outside the hotel room. It's not just the bodies, sir. The RCMP are here. The uniformed officers moved back from the doorway. Sergeant Myra's left eyebrow arched. It took him a second to recognize the woman standing over a slumped corpse. Mountie, are you lost? The low rumble of Myra's voice made Corporal Gail McNaughton look up and grin. Well, Sergeant Nick Myra, the legend of the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, a sarcastic Corporal McNaughton looked up from examining the body. Man, you city cops certainly take your time getting to a murder scene. And this would be the first time the two investigators worked together. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, I did. I wanted more.
Good. I
We're
hope so.
It's just great the way you set them up and the way you pulled us in there. And I'm already getting a feel for their relationship, you know?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
respect between the two forces and a lot of
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because you have great knowledge of both forces, and you put them together to work together. Is that a common thing?
yeah, I'm RCMP. My husband is Aaron C. My sister-in-law is an inspector with the Aaron C. She's married to an inspector with the RCMP. So we're very blue blood family, and and very common, and a lot of respect. It's at the end of the day, we're all the same. We all have the same goal. They're all police officers. They all work in policing, and they all want the same thing at the end of the day, and a lot of respect. Everybody brings something important to the table.
Yeah. And Helen, you speaking about bringing important things to the table, you're working on something very important right now, which is a book tour across this island of Newfoundland and Labrador. So fill people in while you have a chance.
Yes, I always get emails and questions from people saying, "Are you ever going to come out to Central Newfoundland to see us?" And I love to. I did a lot of virtual book clubs during the pandemic, and now I get to go out and see people, and I'm so excited to see people. So it's starting out in St. John's on September 15th at the AC Hunter Library. And then on Saturday, September 18th, I'm going to be at the Clarenville Market from 10:30 to 11:30. Sunday, September 19th, I'm going to be at the Auk Island Winery in Twillingate. There's going to be wine tasting, so come on over. That's going to be interesting. Monday, September 20th, 2 o'clock, I'm at the Gander Library. Tuesday, September 21st, 6:30, I'm at the Corner Brook Library. And Wednesday, September 26th, I'm in Portabasque at the Butterfly Book Club, Butterfly Book Boutique on 26 Main Street from 1:30 to 4:30.
Great. Well, you're going to be busy. And of course, we're going to bring you right here to Grand Falls, Windsor later this fall because we're going to do an event together. Sounds good.
I can't wait. That's going to be so fun.
Yeah, it is going to be fun. And there are book clubs here in Central, and I will reach out to them and see what kind of engagement we can get.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Helen, wonderful. And thank you so much for your time and sharing the book. I think we should mention that it is with Flanker Press.
Yes.
And Flanker you have worked with other publishers and they're all great, but Flanker seems to be your main publisher at the moment.
Yes, they're amazing. They do a great job. They have distributed the book all over the island. They're in Kohl's and Chapters and Costco's. They're in Irving's. They're in every gift store across the island. Several places out in Grand Falls, the Co-op, and loads of anywhere you buy books, you can buy it. You can always buy it online. And now they've also signed a distribution deal with a company in Toronto. It'll be all throughout Canada and down through the States. So our stories are going everywhere.
That is really exciting. I'm going to have to get Jerry Cranford back on here to talk about what that can mean for authors in our province, because that's very significant and very, very exciting. Great. Well, Helen, have a great rest of your day. And we're going to hop over onto Instagram for a few minutes and reach out to some people who may not be aware of us. Sound good to you?
Brilliant. Sounds brilliant.
Okay. Well, goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Catherine Taylor, the host of Let's Get Writing and Let's Get Writing Author Reads, which you just heard. We're also available on my YouTube channel at Catherine Taylor TV and by podcast on Podbean, Bean, and any other podcast platforms. Please subscribe and share. I appreciate your love and support. And now that's my story. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for joining us.